So we were called to diagnose this vehicle. I was diagnosing it with my student. So with this one, we were trying to check the vehicle, and it was having an immobilizer issue. So what we did was to check, is it from the immobilizer or is from the system itself. So you have to check whether the fault is from the immobilizer or from the ECU, because the ECU is reporting an immobilizer fault, and you have to check the key and the immobilizer antenna if also the antenna is able to read the signal. So we do all those check. And with Hyundai, normally when it comes to the immobilizer key has to stay on for long. The moment you put in the correct key, the immobilizer light has to stay on. So we scan the system and check the immobilizer data, and you can see we have no fault in the immobilizer, and we have two keys in the immobilizer. So what I'll do is I'll read the pin code of the vehicle. So select the VIN number, and this car is 2002 Ascent. So I'll read the pin code, then I'll write the pin code down. Then I'll try and see if I'll be able to program a key for the system, because it's still reporting an immobilizer issue. And actually, I don't know the issue with it. So you can see two keys. So what I'll do is I'll go to the Imo learning and see the functions that I can do with this machine. So they brought the car. The car is for one of the admins of the school, and we are trying to diagnose and see the actual problem with the vehicle. It says this car has been there for almost 2 years, and they've changed the control unit and done everything. So I'll try learning the VIN and see if it will work, because I input the VIN to get access to the vehicle. So now let me try key learning so that I'll know the exact thing to do. So one thing also about Hyundai is the moment you try the key learning, it erases all existing keys and reaccept the new ones that you are programming. So even if it's a used key, it will reaccept it. But if you are having an issue with the immobilizer and it's not able to read the key, then that means you are doomed, because it is not going to it is not going to allow any key in again, and the key in the system also will be erased. So I'll try and so that's the password, and it is correct. So the moment I try it, I place in the first key into the ignition, and because there is fault in the immobilizer system, so you can see invalid key. That means the antenna was not able to read the key. So now what I'll do is I'll rescan the system, and you see that the number of two keys will go to zero, because with Hyundai and Kia, that's how their system are being designed. So if there is an issue with the immobilizer and you go and program it, the moment you program it, it will raise all the key, and it cannot accept any key, because that problem with the immobilizer has not been fixed yet. So I was trying to diagnose with my students and trying to give them the diagnosing process involved in such works. So when you are doing any of this work, and you can see the keys are zero now, the number of keys are zero now, which means we are doomed. So now there is no key in the system, and we have to find for the keys in the system. So with this one, what I'll do is I'll try and attack the immobilizer unit. I'll try and attack the immobilizer unit and see if I'll be able to do it. Because if I don't do it, that means I can't attack this. I can't work on the system again, and the car too is reporting smarter error, which means there is an issue with the immobilizer system. So Now I have to go to the immobilizer unit and check for power and ground and signal and see if it will work, so that I'll be able to do it. So now checking the wiring diagram, that will help me to know that if there is power or not. So what I'll do now is I'll check the power and the grounds and the line going to the ignition coil, and also the one going to the ECU, for the ECU to know that the immobilizer is working, or the immobilizer is having power now, or the one that the ECU and the immobilizer shares the data on. So now what I'll do is I'll go back and scan the whole vehicle and try to use the OEM software to see what I can do on this vehicle. So now what I'll do is we'll check all the immobilizer issues. So now the vehicle is not able to see the key, and also it's not able to register any key into the system. So now I'll take my scope out and try and scope the signal lines and check for power and ground on the sockets, so that I'll know the exact thing to do. So with this one, it wouldn't be that much difficult, but it's something we have to work on. So I'll do it with my students, and I'll let us check the power and grounds on the system. If we don't get any power on the immobilizer, then we'll try to give the immobilizer power. So we'll join the wires and the pin behind the immobilizer, then we use that one to check to see if the immobilizer will be able to work again. Because if you don't do it that way, you have to check the power and ground for the immobilizer unit. And with this one, if you scan the immo system, the immobilizer unit itself is different from the immo system, the one that carries the um so with Hyundai, normally what they do is they put part of the immobilizer system into the ECU and another part into a different unit, which is called the immobilizer unit or the smartra. So with that one, you will not be with that one, if it doesn't work, you will not be able to do anything on the car, the immo system on the car. So I'll set up the system and check everything with my students and see if we will be able to do it well. So now you set up the whole system and try and see if everything is going to be okay. So check the wiring diagram and insert it according to the pin. So with this one, I have to read the key and see if the key is valid or the key is working. So after reading the key, that's where I'll be able to know that, yeah, this is the key that the software or my scan tool says I'll be able to use. So I'm reading the key and see if the key is faulty or the key is damaged. And also I was trying to clone the key, because with them you can clone the ID46. You can clone most of their keys. So I was trying to clone the key, but because the immobilizer is not working, and with them when you are cloning the key, you have to take the VVDI key close to the ignition and turn it on and off. And with this one, the ignition is not working. The ignition coil is not working to pick signals, so it will not work. So all I have to do is check it. If it doesn't work, then I have to attack the immobilizer unit, as I said. From there, then I'll know what to do to the system to make it work. because after cloning, if the vehicle is still not working, and you can see when you turn it on, the immobilizer light doesn't come on. The immobilizer light doesn't come on, and that affects the system. So I'll test with my student and see what we can do. So we'll do our test, and cloning wouldn't work because there is no antenna sending any signal anywhere. Okay, so you take it out of the power. Zero keys. Everything is plugged in here. Yes. I want you to test this signal for me. Probe at the back of pin 5 on the immobilizer box. Let me see something. Take 10 and remove this. Do you remember the password? Yeah, 11, then those are 11, 4, 9, 1, 2. Invalid key. I didn't receive the signal. Okay, it's okay. Don't put it too much. Pin 5. Pin 5 is brown, right? Yeah. So check pin 5.
Need to pause it.
Then change, yeah, take it out and put it in pin 5. Yeah. Plug it in pin 5. Plug it at the back. Yeah. Yes. Okay, take it out from pin 5.
Sir.
Yes.
Tomorrow, I was finding out the movement tomorrow from Mr. Bonnie. He says I should find out if you would stay here overnight.
Stay here.
And he said, what time would you want us to move?
Around 9.
Around 9?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, okay. So probe pin 4. Is it at the back of pin 4?
Yes.
No, probe it here. Push it in properly. Is it at the back of pin 4?
Yes.
Take it out. Pin 4 is it's purple and green. Pink and blue. Okay, probe it again. Just forget. That's the power to the immobilizer.
This one.
Yeah, pin 4 is the power to the immobilizer. Okay, let's go to pin 3. Give me test light. It's on power. It's on power, right? Keep it. So let's test for power on that pin. You are not getting any power on pin 4.
Power.
Yeah. Find for better. Okay. Test for power on the other one. No, on pin. On the yellow pin. The yellow. The red pin. No, the red pin that you plugged in there. No, this. Okay. So what we do is connect. I'm going to check if the immobilizer giving it power will help. Will give us the teaching. Okay, I'm lazy there. Fuck that. So put it at power. They'll give you the test lights. To play safe, I'm using it this way. To play safe. Oh, I'm crazy. Sorry. No, I just turn on the key to check if. Okay. The key is on. Are you sure it's on pin 4?
Yes.
Okay. So that means the immobilizer. Okay, let's check for ground. Take it to pin 3. Pin 3 is ground. The moment you take it to on the immobilizer. Yeah, that's good ground. So take it back to pin 4. Okay, it's at pin 4, right? Okay. Now let me test the ignition. If it will work. And if it will work, it will start searching for power. Afraid to blow? Let it blow. Yes, you see the moment I touch it, it flash. So that means now the immobilizer is getting power. The immobilizer wasn't having power. Did you get it? So now that the immobilizer is having power. So now, let me turn it. Let me put the key in. Let me try and program it and see if it will work this time. Let me program this key to it and see if it will work this time. Let's see, okay. You see it flashed. Key programming complete. So that means the immobilizer wasn't having power. Okay. So now, yeah, done, right? Now the immobilizer is having power. And okay, no, we don't have any next key. You see, it's flashing and searching for the next key to program. But you are not going to program it. So now go back, move out. So now let's go and check key status. You see, first the key status was not checked.
Yes.
Okay, now let's go. Only one key. Checking key status. So let's go back to the control board and see if that fault related to the key programming is out. Trouble code. Invalid key ID. So let's erase all the fault code. Okay, now no fault code. Okay, let's read and see what fault code we are going to get. My system. Okay, let's read it again and see if you are going to get. You see now that fault code is not coming up again. So it was power related to the immobilizer. Immobilizer wasn't having power. Do you get it? So now it's 12 volts. So now the power on the immobilizer is fucking working.
Yes.
I can add like 2 keys to it. I can generate a key and add it to it. So now what we do is, what we are going to do now is You have to find a way to let the car start.
And the immobilizer is not having fuse.
Immobilizer is
Power.
having fuse. Immobilizer is having fuse. So now you see that fault is not coming up again. So now let me crank and see the output. Is there anything that you've taken out?